It must be 96 by 80 pixels, and you must also rename it to cl.gif.
Now that you have an interest in the phone company and phone phreaking, you should understand something called scanning, or prefix scanning and exchange scanning. Scanning is much like war dialing. Now, war dialing is the act of having your computer or other device scan a range of phone numbers looking for other computers. However, exchange and prefix scanning, you're not looking for just computers, you're looking for a whole bunch of stuff, and you're also mapping how the phone system is put together. So you can look for private branch exchanges, test numbers, voicemail systems, a whole bunch of fun stuff out there. And for the same reason people war drive and war dial and even do radio scanning is you have no idea what's out there until you look. Now, you can hand scan, and that's just going to take you forever and a day. You can use a computer to do it, but there are some discrepancies with that, because if you use a computer, there are some systems out there that are designed to detect whether or not a computer or a human is dialing a certain amount of numbers in a certain amount of time. Example, every single time, if you use a computer, every single time it dials, each tone is 90 milliseconds long, and it uses the same rate of dialing every single time, and you're scanning like 10,000 numbers. Of course, the phone company's computer is going to go, okay, what's going on here? Now, a lot of times people actually still scan the 1-800 numbers because they're toll free, and you can scan your local exchanges. However, you could be paying money for this because this is on your phone bill, and if you're dialing out of your calling area, it could even be long distance. So if you decide to scan and use a computer, just let it sit overnight, just to look for computers, and you wind up getting a $3,000 phone bill because you didn't realize you were dialing long distance and you didn't have unlimited calls, we warned you. So the first thing I'd like to explain are low tones. Low tones and high tones are signals from the phone company a piece of equipment will make saying, I'm ready to be used, I'm ready for a command. Now, the number one thing that uses low tones are extenders. Extenders are put up by long-distance corporations or big business, so basically you call the extender, it'll give you a low tone or a greeting saying, please enter your password or so whatever, and you put in the PIN, you put in your password or whatever dialing format it requires, and it'll make like a third-party call. So instead of you getting charged for it, the extender does. So it's kind of like having a calling card, but a big business will own it, and they'll just pay a flat rate on that. Now, keeping in mind that you can just systematically or even randomly try to break in by guessing the passcode, however, that's considered cracking, and that's a crime. Knowing that it's there is one thing, breaking in to use it, that's another. Now, extenders normally don't identify themselves. They're very hard to find out that they're actually extenders. The easiest thing to realize, like that you found an extender, is the AT&T Easy Reach. Because as soon as you dial it, it says, welcome to AT&T Easy Reach. Please enter the number you're trying to dial. And the AT&T Easy Reach is basically someone decided they wanted to have a toll-free number linked to their home line. Businesses use it, people use it, voicemail systems use it. There's scan, see what you can find. The next thing that you can look for is are PBXs, or private branch exchanges. They're commonly used by hospitals, big businesses, stores. A lot of 800 numbers and 888, the toll-free services, have PBXs on them because, when you call up someplace and it goes, welcome to so-and-so corporation. For English, press 1. For Spanish, press 2. For Stanglish, press 3. That's a PBX. Now, a PBX is a small little itty-bitty exchange in itself. PBXs can be linked up with other PBXs. Now, a PBX, or a company that owns a PBX, that PBX could actually own a block of phone numbers, say 1-800-255-0010 to 0020. So it'll have 10 numbers that lead to the same PBX. However, that PBX could be controlling hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of other phones that are in a building or linked to each other, like most tech supports for computer companies are controlled by a network of PBXs. Now, another thing about PBXs is a lot of stores, like big stores, like here in the United States, Kmart, Walmart, ShopRite, Pathmark, most malls have it where you can actually call up the PBX and dial an extension of the PBX. Like, you dial into the PBX says, what extension are you looking for? You can dial an extension and hit the intercom for the store. I mean, there have been a couple of times where I was doing some local grocery shopping. The manager comes walking in, really pissed off, flips open his cell phone, pushes speed dial, and everything he said into the phone was going over the loudspeaker. So you can have some pretty fun stuff with that, but keeping in mind that there's a difference between scanning legitimately and illegitimately. Illegitimately means you got to break a passcode or you're doing something so you can gain access because it's password protected. So there's a lot of common software that you can use on your DOS or Windows PC. I'm not too familiar with the Linux side, but if you're running Linux, I'm pretty sure you already know how to use a war dialer. The program I want to show you is called PhoneTag. PhoneTag is actually a war dialing application that you can use once set up to do a scan, and it's pretty nifty. So let's get on to that.
Here we have PhoneTag. PhoneTag is a pretty hard program to find, and I'll try to put it up on the forums if you need it. The first thing you have to do in PhoneTag is hit your setup button and set up your modem. Make sure your COM port is actually selected to the proper port your modem's hooked up to. If you don't know how, go into Device Manager and check. Most modems, however, are always on port 3. The modem speed doesn't matter because we're not doing actual data communications because we're looking for audio, not data. Word format doesn't matter because, again, it implies that we're scanning for data. The dial speed in milliseconds. I like 90 because I like to hear the tones going by, the DTMF tones, that is, and make sure your modem speaker is always on because if you can't hear what's going on, then there's no point in doing this. The dial patience is how long the program is going to wait before hanging up and trying the next number. You can do some randomness between it, but I personally don't care. A lot of people would agree with the fact that there is software that the phone company runs on their systems to detect scanning, but I have never heard of anyone going to jail for doing any kind of scanning. I do know people that have gone to jail because they've found some stuff in a scan, broke into it, and then did some naughty things. The dialing prefix and suffix I won't get into. That's a little bit more advanced, as well as the modem initialization string. Just leave it alone. Stealth mode off, because if you put stealth mode on, it's going to actually minimize to the tray, and you're not going to know where it is, you're not going to hear it, it's going to be absolutely silent. You save your settings, back to the main screen, go to File, New Dial List. Now, you can either select which numbers you want to go through, but to be honest, we're just going to do something simple. Now I'm going to use the number pad to punch in a string. 1-800-255-XXXX, and we'll have it shuffle. And basically what I just told it to do is generate a list that had every single number in 1-800-255 and shuffle it. And there's our list. And all we have to do now is hit our go button. And it's going to go through every single one of the numbers, and it's going to look for the modem, but because we can listen in, we can hear if we find anything interesting. Now, you can do this by hand. It takes a very long time. There are other programs such as THC Tools, or is it THC Scan? Oh, both great applications do the same job. There's A-Dial, W-Dial, although a lot of them run in a DOS environment. If you're really interested, look at the forums in the show notes, and I'll put a link to a really good one that'll actually run on pretty much any Windows system. If you're running Linux, I apologize, because I'm assuming if you know how to run Linux, you already know how to do a war dial and an exchange scan. Now that you have an understanding of the basics, if you're really interested, go out there, scan an exchange, hop on the forums or hop on IRC, and we can all get together as a group, and we can tackle an exchange all together so it doesn't take you 3 years to do it. Have fun.